if I get an early pick, I'm just taking names.
There's no point to take Strat, right? Like, is there a point to take Strat in a best ball format?
And you have changed your name to Stephen A. Swift. You are the leader. You are a different group of Swifties.
I think Jameson Williams is going to outscore. He's going to outpoint Amon-Ra St. Brown this year.
The stats are kind of fugazi, man. Come on.
Let's go.
There's like 50 feet of shit and then Clymer and Edwards.
I think it's a buying opportunity for the Chiefs, actually.
You ever see me hate Bryce Young as a quarterback, even as a backup? Smack me when you see me in Vegas.
I'm all about Devontae Adams.
They're hurting their own team. You could just turn around later and take, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin.
I just go, what the fuck are they doing at running back?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a big show because it is our last, not our last live draft coverage, but it's our last Big Gorilla live draft coverage. $1 million is on the line. 12 drafters are competing for a $5.8 million prize pool. I'm your host, Aidan Liquorie. Joining me, Dave Terpoilli, Jake Venuti, and returning, he covered our first Big Gorilla of the year on March 31st with us. He is back for the last one. Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm. Coop, thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, dude. Right? The rent, it's like rent, first and last, and the rent is due, baby. Well, you're back here to wrap it up, dude. Always love jumping on with you guys, with the Goombahs, right? With the chat popping. And I got to say, it's a good lesson that the squeaky wheel gets the Goombahs last year.
Whoa.
Okay, here we go. Enough intros, dude. Right to it.
Wheels are coming right off.
What?
Wow.
What?
The draft, what is his name? Daffin guy?
The effing guy?
He said he doesn't care about ADP. He's taking his guy. I respect it.
Your ADP, dude. There you go. Hey, he's not going to come back.
He's never coming back. So at the end of the day, it is what it is.
The guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the players I was most wrong about by far. I truly, truly believed that, he was a one-eyed king in the land of the blind when they got rid of Marvin Jones and they got rid of Kenny Golladay. I thought that he was going to basically end up being the next Tyler Boyd or whatever when they brought in more wide receivers, but that dude just proved to be such a dog, man. Just unbelievable player. So, you know what? I don't think it's crazy. I think what you got to do if that's your feeling, right? You just got to do more drafts and keep playing until you get him usually where he goes, right?
Or
do you guys on board with reaching and taking him at 2?
If it's a one draft guy, I don't care.
If it's a one draft guy, you just got to draft your guy. But for me personally, if once I'm already enter the world of doing $250 buy-in drafts, I'm just going.
If you're a volume guy, it does not make any sense at all.
No,
because you're not getting any 1-2 picks. So at the end of the day, the Gibbs Robinson, which is the clear cut 1-2 right now, you got to take him when you get that pick. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying that if you're a volume drafter, it's just silly to do that. You're going to get plenty of other picks.
And that part of the second round and third round, you're not even really creating a unique build.
You're not. There's going to be plenty of Nico. There's going to be plenty of AJ Brown. There's going to be plenty of Derrick Henry mixtures in there. You're not really getting, you might get a McBride fall, a Loveland fall, but that's about it.
Right. Feels unnecessary, but hey, you know what? Do what you got to do. And the draft, here's how it goes for everybody else is that the draft has already smoothed itself out because, Amon-Ra St. Brown would be going right now. Everybody else is just kind of getting who they're getting. So
I will say that Chase even at 5 is nice. You don't see that. It's happened a couple times throughout the tournament, but the injury scare, that 20 minutes where it was oh no, but completely okay. Probably will have some rest and recovery over the next week or two, but he's going to be fine. And getting him at the 105 is we always talk potential unique builds, depending on if someone could fall there to team 5, you could be looking at a unique.
I'm all about the unique build stuff. I get that. If you want to do something crazy, but take James Cook second. That would be something that makes a little bit of sense from that perspective. You're going to build some teams with James Cook and somebody else you're not going to get. St. Brown, he's too close. He's been going 4 in some drafts. He's been going 5 in some drafts. So you're not really differentiate yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the Chase pick is really the one that is differentiating, and I mean, the thing with picking Puka Nacua there, like, if you're worried about injuries for Jamar Chase, if you're worried about injuries at all, wouldn't you be worried about the fact that Puka Nacua has been missing a bunch of practice, and
there's not a lot of positive press on Puka Nacua right now.
No, dude. I mean, like,
the Rams are going to be very
off the field.
Yeah, I still don't think it's crazy for him to potentially get suspended. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy how much the NFL has changed. And I know there's a new CBA since though back in the day, but back in my day, if they even thought you did something, you got suspended. This guy clearly bit somebody. His agent admitted that he bit somebody. He changed agents since then. Right? His agent said, my guy bit this woman, but it was all horseplay. She said she didn't want to be bit. I mean, like, you normally would get suspended for that. The new era of the NFL is kind of more of a wait and see approach, huh?
Yeah, and this is really interesting because, as I said, I pulled up the draft board to our March 31st Big Gorilla stream. I think it might have even been our first live draft coverage total of the year. And in that draft, Trey McBride went at the 107, Colson Loveland went at the 206. It's just a little, McBride has dropped kind of more to the mid-second. But here in this draft, he gets pushed up 112 and then double tap with Loveland, just like the first time we did that. So I kind of want, let's talk about it because you haven't been seeing it as much because it's kind of been harder where McBride's going in the mid-second. Loveland often isn't falling kind of to that mid-third. Your thoughts on pushing both of those tight ends up in this tight end premium FFPC Big Gorilla format?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. In tight end premium, you can have a tight end be the number one overall flex player in the format. I mean, by flex, I mean the best running back, wide receiver, tight end. It's entirely possible in this format. So I have no problem with either of those picks. It's interesting that the prop bet markets still like Trey McBride. He still has higher props than Brock Bowers and everybody else. I also totally get the argument about regression, even just natural regression. Forget like him getting injured or not playing as well. Like, if you go out and have a top 5 all-time season, the odds are that you're most likely, just based on natural regression, just going to have a normal season next year. Like, it's like if Terp went out and shot his very best golf game, and then we all said to ourselves, well, next time he goes out, he's just going to shoot a 65 every time because that's just like him now. That's what he is now. So I totally get it. Conditions were perfect last year, but
65 in my life.
No, of course not.
Front 9 65s, yes.
Honestly, there are days where I'd be happy with that. But for me, in a format like this, once it's tight end premium, then just you can kind of do whatever you want. I don't know, Jake. For you, is Trey McBride a first round pick? Is Colston Loveland a borderline first round pick? Because that's what you're declaring when you take somebody at the swing. If you take somebody at the 13th pick, you're basically telling everybody, I view this guy as a first round caliber player.
Yeah, I have been saying all along, I have McBride over Bowers. And even the reports out of camp for McBride, I was reading one the other day that he had 40 targets and the next closest was 20. And this was a mix of all quarterbacks, not just Jacoby Brissett. I still do like Bowers, but just what McBride did last year, Arizona has an awful defense. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. And I don't really worry too much who the quarterback is. Obviously, I prefer it to be Brissett. But if it's Carson Beck, I still think Trey McBride is going to be the number one option in that offense. But, most people are Bowers over McBride, but I would not be surprised if McBride outscores Bowers. Yeah,
it's like in our mind, like people want someone to be Travis Kelce, right? That's same thing happened with Sam Laporta when he was, the tight end one. He only scored 240 PPR points that year, which was a really low tight end one season. But people were taking him in like the second and third round because they just said to themselves, well, somebody's got to be Travis Kelce. But it's easy to forget that Travis Kelce came from a team where he was playing with Mahomes. The offense was exactly what they wanted it to be, right? Brock Bowers, that offense has a ton of moving parts. And Trey McBride, to your point, that offense is actually most similar to what it was last year, besides the fact that they changed the play caller. I think for me, there's just so many moving parts with these guys. I don't really like taking either of them. I also just think that we can generate more value, create more leverage with a tight end position later on. For 12 straight years now, a tight end has come from outside the top 15 in ADP, tight end 15 or later to finish top 5. Last year, you've got Harold Fannin. You've had these guys like Jonnu Smith and Darren Waller and Mark Andrews and going all the way back to Heath Miller. Like, I just feel like that's a position where it's easier to create leverage and find a breakout later. That's why for me, I'm really only drafting high-end guys if they fall to me. I'm never going to be one to reach for that type of guy.
My favorite thing to do is wait on tight end and then pair like a Kincaid or a Likely or a Pitts, like one of those high upside guys with like a Goddard, a Kelsey, and Andrews. That's typically what I do at tight end. I also just don't like any teams where I draft a tight end early. I really just don't like my team when it's all said and done.
Exactly. Like on the draft board, it looks fine. But then once the tight end moves down into that tight end spot, you say to yourself, you're like, where are all my good players?
Right.
Where are my good players? It just
right. Like you take Bowers in the first and you look, okay, you know what? That's my wide receiver 1, but it's just, oh, damn, I could have got Goddard in the, 7th round, 8th round and taken whoever, James Cook in the first. It's just roster construction for me. That's why I don't do it.
Same with quarterback. Somebody hands me their phone. They say, look at my team. Quarterback in most cases is like invisible to me. Like I just don't mentally give that pick a lot of credit, when I'm just looking over teams. So I feel you on that, man. And I'll tell you, like in this, which is obviously a league where you set lineups, like you don't have to worry when you draft 2 tight ends. You don't have to worry about the floor of that second tight end at all. Nope. At all. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you draft Dallas Goedert, like that's your starting tight end. You can draft Kenyon Sadiq as your next guy, and he doesn't have to play for multiple weeks because it doesn't matter, right? You take risks on Greg Dulcich or whoever you want. You can draft Elijah Arroyo if you want and just take a look because you can drop that guy to waivers and you can add somebody else. This type of format allows for that. In best ball, you got to be a little more calculated, but these are the type of drafts where I love doing 2 tight end builds and saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to forget about floor completely with my second tight end and only care about ceiling.
Quick question. Actually, I'm going to give this one to Jake because he's the one who's incredibly high on McBride. From Scott Cope, Jake, how much does the McBride Week 14 bye play into any draft decisions for you?
I don't really pay too much attention to bye weeks. I know that the playoffs go, through start before Week 14, but again, you have to get there, right? And there's 14 weeks for you to make up your tight end 2 position, assuming you don't draft another tight end. But if you draft someone with like a Week 8 bye, we slide him right in there for McBride. There's 14 weeks to figure that out, and you need you need to get to the playoffs before you worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Terp, I want to ask you. Obviously, we've been talking all summer about the return of the RB start, running backs going early. And you and me have even talked about it, right? I did the represented FFPC, SiriusXM Best Ball Draft. And you and me, Terp, had talked kind of beforehand, just through the draft. And I was asking you your opinions, and we were like, go running back early. Now, obviously, a little bit of a different format, but regardless, feels like in the last couple of weeks, I've been looking more and more at these kind of, piss and yellow, receiver heavy starts and kind of being contrarian. I just want to get your thoughts on how those teams are shaping up as so much of the fantasy community is going RB to start, as we've discussed. Some of these wide receiver early starts, you can get loaded at receiver if you just hammer and then you just need to hit running backs. I just want to hear your thoughts on maybe doing the contrarian play.
There's a lot of smart people that I know that are trying the 0 RB approach. It's not something that's for the faint of heart. Early in the draft, I feel like you can get away with it. End of the draft, it's a little bit more tricky. To me, drafting a guy like James Cook or Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey, whoever you like, it doesn't matter. Chase Brown, I'm gonna say Chris Brown, Kenneth Walker, A-Chain, guys like that. I like personally starting 2 running backs there because then I don't worry about the position anymore. I'm not a Lamb guy. I'm not the biggest Jefferson guy. So to me, it's like, am I going to push up a Drake London, a push up an A.J. Brown, push up Neighbors where he was going 3, 4, 5 rounds later in some regards? That's not me. I'm not the biggest McBride drafter. I don't take much. I like Loveland. I like McBride, but I'm on the Coop bandwagon when it comes to drafting tight ends. I like waiting. If it's not Bowers is the only guy I probably would make that consideration for, but the other 2, I feel like it's just good to get a running back early. Whether you get 2, it all depends on what you want to construct your roster. I just think the 3rd round, 4th round receivers are loaded. You have a ton of guys in there that could easily be top 5 receivers at the end of the year. Zay Flowers, Devonta Smith. If you're a Rashee Rice guy, Igbuka if he's healthy. Olave, Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle. We can keep going on the list of all these guys. You could all tell the story why they should be drafted up in the Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb territory.
Yeah, well, so Terp, would you, or actually, this is a question for all three of you. Would any of you be surprised if Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, or Lab McConkey outscored CeeDee Lamb or Jefferson?
No.
Right. So, like Terp, we've talked about, it is hard for me to take Jefferson or Lamb over someone like Chase Brown, Ken Walker, Barkley, A-Chain's 50-50, but I just feel like there's no risk with those running backs, right?
And also with the running back drop off, Jake, I assume.
Right.
The running back drop off is there, and I agree with pretty much the people that I know why people are doing it, because the drop off is kind of settled a little bit. So you're getting guys like Montgomery, Tootin, Price if you're a Price guy, things like that.
The problem you run into with ADP, and this has been such a battle for years, and it's really difficult to go against, is that you got to understand whether you're part of the wave or chasing the wave.
Yep.
Because sometimes when you go against ADP, what ends up happening is you can't be the catalyst that changes everything yourself. You can't be a one-man revolution. You go out and you draft a wide receiver there. That doesn't stop everybody else from taking all the running backs. And then by the time it comes back to you, now when your turn to take running backs, they're all gone, and everybody else is taking the wide receiver value. For me, you have to commit to the bit. You have to commit to going 0 RB or hero RB if you're going to do that. You can't just kind of try and flip it early on and then circle back. Then you get the worst of both worlds. You get the running. You go too early on the wide receivers, and then you're chasing with the running back. So you really got to commit to it if you're going to do it. And to be honest, this format, when I play in a hometown league, I have no problem doing 0 RB or hero RB.
Way different.
On a site like this, it's so much different, Terp, right? Because there's no trading. First of all, being able to trade bails your ass out with hero RB.
There's one or two owners who are not the best, and you can just pick them apart a little bit.
Just pick them apart, or because you have 9 wide receivers, just give somebody a wide receiver for a really good wide receiver for an okay running back. And that solves your problem sometimes. Sometimes you just need an okay running back. The other thing is that anyone that's never actually played one of these leagues and just watches the drafts, brother, waivers can get gross, dude. I'm telling you, in these leagues, how many teams got bailed out by Michael Wilson last year? Because for me too, brother, for weeks, there was nothing. Weeks, I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, I have money to spend. I have holes to fill, and I'm not even going to spend it. It's just, it gets so bad. So
him and Parker Washington, they both towards the end of the year.
Yeah, you're right. Parker Washington too. It's but last year no running back really came around, and in a 20-round draft, those guys are being drafted anyway, brother. All the handcuffs are being drafted. They're not being dropped. It's just 0 and hero RB. You better believe in your late round running back picks. You better believe you got the secret code, the skeleton key.
And if you don't, you're almost dead.
I see a lot of people start off like James Cook, Chase Brown, for instance, but then they'll wait till round 10 and they'll go Keaton Mitchell, Lloyd, Spears. But if you lose Cook or Brown, you're
so here's the thing with these big tournaments. So I took a look at ADP over the last 5 years because we do know that 2 years ago wide receivers were going crazy, just bonkers, right? That was the height of the 0 RB. Back in 2022, the draft board looked very similar to what it looks like now. And a lot of the teams that won in the big tournaments were going hyper fragile build. Pat Carrane, when we won his big tournament, he just did that exact thing that you're talking about, Jake, is he took Austin Eckler in the first round and Saquon Barkley in the next round. And then he didn't draft another running back for a long time. Yeah, not another one for forever. And you just got to go in that strategy. I'm fine with it. Commit to it, though. Hyper fragile. Good. I'm drafting these 2 running backs. If one of them gets hurt, I lose. This is a big tournament. If one of those guys gets hurt, you probably lose even if you did draft a bunch of losers in the middle round, right? Just commit to what you're doing and try to build a team that's going to run pure, right? So this James Cook, Chase Brown team, I would love to see, unless a value falls, I would love to see them just go and knock 4 wide receivers right now and then pencil together quarterback and tight end and make a team look like that, make it look like it's supposed to. And you know what? Keaton Mitchell, as far as an extra guy for a build like that, I think that's fine. Get somebody who can go in for your bye weeks and maybe rip off a big play. Or of course, have some handcuff plus type upside. But like, if James Cook gets hurt, dude, you're done.
I will say that in terms, if you're going to go zero running back, kind of buck the trend, I feel as though personally later in the draft, it's easier to do. I know Terp, you were saying you weren't.
I think early in the draft's easier to do.
I think your ability to go. So Terp, what you're thinking at like?
I'm just looking at team 4. I mean, they're not really zero RB, but
the spot where I do it the most from is 3.
Yeah,
interesting. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Jetta CD, and then you get it. You can go Brees, J Love and ETN.
At the end, it's so hard to take those.
That's not but that's when you're So Aidan, now I get what you're saying. If you're going to start wide receiver, but go hero running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best spot for hero running back is 1 or 2.
Well, yeah.
But 1, 2, and
pick another running back unless one falls.
Picks 1, 2, and 3. I feel like the wide receiver value there is where I run into the most like automatic clicks. Like Jamar Chase for me is an automatic click, and then coming back here, if the running backs are going off the board like crazy, AJ Brown and Drake London auto click, and then in the next round, somebody gets froggy, and I've seen people taking Javonte Williams at that 2-3 swing. Like sometimes it gets crazy with the running backs, and I just end up going wide receivers for the first like few rounds. That happens to me most from 3. The reason I don't go hero and 0, Aidan, from that spot is the exact reason you pointed out. The running backs at that fourth round swing, I'm okay with those guys, So I end up usually getting cold feet and picking one.
Sure. I personally love what Team 11 did. Team 11 started with Jefferson, which is not something I would do, but getting Aching, getting Hall, who's been a faller obviously since the injury, and then Jeremiah Love.
Latest Jeremiah Love has gone in a bit.
If you're trying to win a tournament, it's a great pick. If you believe in Jeremiah Love, doesn't matter if you think it's a great pick or not, that's irrelevant. To get him where you got him, the way he looked in just a short dose, if that's what you're looking at a sprint type of situation, you have a healthy Hall, you have a healthy A-Chain, and a healthy Love with Jefferson, hopefully clicking with Murray, and you obviously build the rest of the team out. That's a team that it's going to be different because there's so many Love at the top end, the third round, middle third round, early third round. There's not much Love at the end since the injury. So to me, if you're trying to win a tournament and like you're doing a bunch of these, a start like that is fine with me. I think it's a team that'll be different. It's a team that can make a run.
There's a lot of teams that have Jeremiah Love as their third running back, but it was often a team that started Bijan, Derrick Henry, and then Jeremiah Love, or flip that. It's rare to see a team that has Jeremiah Love as their third running back that also has an elite receiver in Jefferson. So, great call out, a very good start for Team 11. Coop, I wanted to ask you real quick. It is a little funny to look back. I will keep referencing it because it's fun that, you were the first Big Gorilla.
That's why we did this, yeah.
That's why we did this. Malik Neighbors in your first one was going at the 209. This one, he goes into 207. In between that, the ADP was literally all over the place. It dropped into the 5th round at some points. And obviously now you compare back to March and it looks as though it's been stable. Obviously, we know that's not. Neighbors looks great. The preseason footage looks good. But at the end of the day, it is just, preseason training camp practices. What are you forecasting for Neighbors as he continues? Wide receiver 7. He's going consistently as a top 10 receiver. But, there was legitimate concern there and rightfully placed concern. It seems as though it's evaporated. Do you still have any? Is this the right point for Neighbors? Do you think it should maybe be more the 2-3 turn? Where are you comfortable taking Malik Neighbors?
These are the only 2 draft boards I've looked at. Why? What happened? No, for me, I look at guys like Neighbors and Rashee Rice, and I think it's just the nature of the way I play that the juice is worth the squeeze for me with those players. With a lot of other guys, and it's kind of a weird example, but Sam Laporta, I look at him and I'm like, this guy's coming off a back injury. He's got a hip injury. Now he's probably the third. He's probably competing to be the third target with Jahmyr Gibbs. Because I personally think J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown are ahead. It's like, to me, battling that, the juice is not worth the squeeze. With these 2 guys, Malik Neighbors, this guy is a 12 target a game player when healthy, like incredible player. And Rashee Rice, up until the last couple of days, I think they took him down because Patrick Mahomes might not be ready week 1. the over-under receiving yard prop with DraftKings and BetMGM for Rashee Rice was set at 99.5%. They were daring you to say this guy doesn't catch 100 balls, which to me is a perfect second-round pick. I mean, these guys probably the best candidates to be this year's JSN, as in a guy that comes from the second, third round and just rips faces off. So for me, I have no problem at all with that pick. Where did Rice go? So mid third round. Like, dude,
so Coop, you said BetMGM has Rice at 99.5 catches.
That's what both DraftKings and BetMGM up until within the last couple of days, those lines came down. I think it was because there's like now Andy Reid's non-committal on Patrick Mahomes being the starting quarterback. But basically, I was looking at the props within the last 2 weeks or just last week, and there were 5 wide receivers that had a higher reception line than Rashee Rice. They were the first 5 guys: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase. Actually, and CeeDee Lamb is also set at over 100. Like that's the thing about CeeDee Lamb. I'm picking CeeDee Lamb still, no problem. I don't care. This guy has scored 400 PPR points. He's playing with Dak Prescott. That team's going to playing huck it, chuck it football. George Pickens was still kind of, to me, clearly the second fiddle. Everything ran through Lamb. Lamb's the guy that gets to play in the slot. George Pickens is the one that has to play split end and be in that T. Higgins role. Like, if you don't believe in CeeDee Lamb, go to the sports book and put $1,000 that he doesn't catch 100 passes.
Jake, you don't seem to like CeeDee Lamb.
No, I do like him, but it's tough. You know, when he had that 400-point season, there was no Pickens, there was no Flournoy. I'm not sure how healthy Jake Ferguson was. There was no run game. You know, CeeDee Lamb was the whole offense. They don't need to use him like that anymore, right? They have Pickens, they have Flournoy, they have
I will
Ferguson.
say, though, Pickens' availability throughout his career has been sketchy at best. Last year was
I'm not gonna.
Are you not drafting Jamar Chase because they have T. Higgins and they have Chase Brown?
Well, but Jamar Chase has done it with Higgins and Chase Brown on the. You know what I mean? I mean, there's been times where they haven't all been healthy, but we've never seen Lamb with a healthy Pickens, Ferguson, Javonte for a whole season.
I'm not worried about Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson last year in games when Lamb and Pickens were both healthy was the tight end 20 in points per game. In the games when CeeDee Lamb was out, the 5 games that he was either injured or left with injury, he was tight end 2. Jake, here's the thing. CeeDee Lamb is above the line. Everything goes through him first and then trickles down to everybody else. I don't really think there's a world where your back is against the wall in a game and you're trying to beat the Eagles and win this division where you say, oh, let's spread the ball around. I think it's still going to be, okay, let's throw the ball to 14 times to CeeDee Lamb and we'll throw it at the ball to everybody else when we have to. CeeDee Lamb is that good to me. I don't think he's really a guy that, just like Jamar Chase is so good, that the existence of T. Higgins doesn't affect him. It helps him even at times. That's, to me, CeeDee Lamb. And again, like I said, I'll pull the line right now and we can go bet it. Bet on him to have 95 catches and you'll win a bunch of money if he doesn't have 100, because that's what the books are saying.
We'll come back to the books because Coop, I want to ask.
Can we talk about Team 10 for a second?
I was about to ask Team 10 because Jake was in the chat earlier saying his ideal start is James Cook and Chase Brown, which Team 10 does, and then they followed up with Emeka, Waddle, Watson, and Terry. Terp, I wanted to hear from Terp, and then Jake. Terp, rave about this team, and then we'll go to Team 12. We're not going to rave, but Team 10, let's rave about it.
A+, man. I have nothing negative to say. I mean, that's a dream start. I would have took Barkley over Brown, but that's just me. But the rest of that squad is loaded. I mean, people are just sleeping on Terry McLaurin right now. I mean, he's getting ignored. Like we always talk about on these shows, like people that just get ignored in drafts. People just hate drafting. They hate clicking. What is there to hate click about Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, I don't understand why people are now pushing him down.
Keep falling, never getting pushed up in drafts. We know what I think about Christian Watson. I don't have to say anything about that. We know what Jake thinks about Jalen Waddle. I'm on that train too. Igbuka, we have our questions on, but still the hype is fine. The talent is there. Is the toe okay? That's a worry.
He's backing it up with.
That team's loaded, man. That's a dream start.
Jake, someone took your conscience, implanted it into Team 10 Scarlet. And
listen, if that team went Lad over Igbuka, it would have been one of the best teams I've seen so far through 6 rounds.
Wow.
But Even that, yeah, that's the thing. It's the toe, right? Like without it, if you could tell me that Ibuka was 100%, then I'd be there.
You never see him there.
That's the thing. If he was 100%, he would have been 2-3 turn.
Right. So if that's the thing is that it's a two wide, technically a 2 wide receiver format, right? Because 2 of the other ones are flexes. Everybody starts wide receivers there, right? But like technically, you can get, whoever they pick in the next round, if it's a running back or wide receiver, that person's going to be in their other flex spot. You can get away with if Ibuka misses a little bit of time. Like even if it's just a couple weeks and you're fine, like you technically only need to fill the 2 wide receiver spots and you can fill the rest, especially in tight end premium. You can start tight ends in those spots too. So like you can get away with it, man. But yeah, what a start. And that's the thing. We said it at the beginning, James Cook, hopefully maybe Scarlett's listening. We said James Cook, Chase Brown, stick with it. Stick with the hyper fragile and just hope that those guys stay healthy. Man, I mean, James Cook and James Brown, those guys could combine for 40 touchdowns, man. Like,
James Cook might be like, it's not even a dark. He could be the RB1 overall this year. Like, and I would not be surprised over Gibbs.
Yeah. The problem I run into with that is I just wish that I wish they leaned on him more, not just in the pass game, but also to close out games. Like with Derrick Henry, they hammer him home in the fourth quarter. Ray Davis plays a ton of mop up, which is very annoying. But this year, maybe James Cook catches a little more passes. I don't know why they love Ty Johnson so much, but like it really, Jake, all it would take is now that he came out and had the rushing season he had last year, all it would take is him to just have the touchdown season he had the year before, or catch a couple more.
Ty Johnson, he's been hurt for a while, and the new coach said they want to get James Cook more involved in the passing game. He's been saying that for months now. Right.
If Ty Johnson just were to be gone, if he would just go away, then James Cook like locked him in,
man.
Right? Because that's the thing is that with James Cook, he had the 18 touchdown season, which was incredible, and then last year, 1,500 rushing yards, but he still maxed out at 300 points in this format, right? And like Chris McCaffrey scored 417. It's that little bit because like you're never going to you can't take the touchdowns away from Josh Allen. You don't want Josh Allen to get hurt ever because right? So it's like it has to come from either a little more mop-up work or the pass work. And like a Ty Johnson injury is maybe all it would take. But he's one of the safest players, and in this format, you don't need to have the number 1 overall player to win.
Yeah.
The teams that made big money, you didn't have to have Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Right. Yeah, Kyle Pitts, which there you go, dude. But so yeah, I love it. I'm interested to see what this guy does next. I would actually love for him to push quarterback and tight end and take one more position player. That's what I would do. I just love starting my draft with like 8-9 guys before I take quarterback. And
I also would love for him to do like a Kincaid Goddard double tap.
Yeah.
Tight end because it gives him outs in the flex.
The dream I was thinking was somehow Isaiah Likely falls to 10.
That's that guy too. I mean, he just went, so that's out of the thing. But
yeah, no, that's
the dream. No, that's not what the real tight end dream is. The real tight end
literally could flop, and it would not surprise me.
It could easily happen.
What's the tight end dream?
The real tight end dream is like you just say fuck it, I'm not taking a single tight end, and then you finish your draft with like Greg Dulcich, Terrence Ferguson, and Elijah Arroyo, and like just complete losers, and they all smash, right? And you start all 3 of them at the flex too. Like they're just so good. Like that's the real tight end dream. It's never gonna happen, but
we did a best ball tournament draft last week where first time we tried it, we had the YouTube chat drafted every pick for Terp graciously.
Every single one.
And
I didn't have a single
$125.
Yeah, 100. And the chat draft, they did a pretty good job, but the first tight end went in round 14. It was, what was it?
I don't remember who they were, but
AJ Barner, Gunnar Helm, Jake Tongas, and Pat Farmer.
I hate AJ Barner, dude. I'm sorry.
Really?
The chat
I get it. I get the idea, man. Here's the problem. Here are some problems I have with AJ Brown. Historically speaking, tight ends that block on more than 15% of their pass plays, the hit rate for those guys is virtually 0. I mean, we've had one George Kittle season where he had like multiple 70-yard touchdowns. One year with Gronk where he caught 11 touchdowns in 11 games but got hurt. And then 1 year from Julius Thomas where Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdown passes. Besides that, no tight end has finished, top 5 with blocking on more than 15% of their pass plays. The other thing is that AJ Barner, if you take every tight end that got 15 targets or more last year, which is 70 guys, only 2 of them ran fewer routes from a wide receiver spot. They were Drew Sample and Mo Alley Cox. This guy is like your
sick group to be a part of.
Yeah, just the boys. He's your classic like inline tight end, which if you were George Kittle, that's fine. If you have like 98th percentile speed, but all it takes for those inline tight ends is to have one guy come in and be a 30 to 40% snap share guy as like a big slot player. And then it turns you into Dawson Knox or Cole Kmet or what David Njoku became last year, Michael Mayer. Like the real concern, if Elijah Royal doesn't even need to break out, he just needs to exist. And that caps the upside on Barner. The bull case for AJ Barner is that Elijah Royal just stinks, and the new Flory comes in and says, we're just going to make you George Kittle, even though you're not George Kittle. And then there's a possibility AJ Barner is like a real guy, but the floor is low and the ceiling to me isn't high enough. So I really don't do a lot of Barner because of that. I would literally rather. I think there's a real possibility Elijah Royal outright outscores AJ Barner.
The Royals look good in their preseason. Terp, I want you to be mean cop as you love to do. Team 12. McBride, Loveland, Fine, Ladd, McConkey, Higgins, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, each pushed up at least a minimum of 1 round. Sutton's been going in the 8th, Godwin in kind of at the 6-7 turn. What do you make of Godwin at the 5-12 and then Sutton at the 6-01 for Team 12?
Overall team, thanks for the donation. I don't see there being any path where they get there. I know we talked about like buying in and going all but that's just crazy. I mean, what running backs are you going to click? This is not best ball. If this was best ball, yeah, fine. You can get away with this. You can just draft running backs the rest of the draft and be fine. But what do you like? Number one, like Cortland Sutton, Godwin. We'll just use them as the example. The top 4 you're going to start every week. Which button are you clicking every week? It's going to make things a little bit more tricky. And then the running back room, like your margin for error is 0.
He's got to go Dowdle and Mason right now, or Dowdle and Hart.
You have to get guys who are going to get consistent carries. Dobbins is fine. That makes
sense.
sense for the build. I mean,
I like the Dowdle. I like the Dowdle call out. By the way, also Team 10 goes Drake May, which is
don't love that pick. Love Drake May don't love it.
So back to team 12. I actually really like that team. I would have went Terry over Sutton, but to Aidan and Terp, I'm big on Godwin.
It's really the Sutton pick, Jake. It's the Sutton.
Yeah, if he just
Sutton
went
pick,
Terry,
the Sutton pick hurts. I actually like Godwin. I don't like taking him that early if possible.
Fine, but I can rationalize pushing him up. The Sutton one is the one that's
you pick on the swing. It would have felt better for me if he took somebody else and then Godwin, even though it's the same pick because it's a swing pick. If you just take somebody else and then you take Godwin in the next round, then it feels better. Also, why didn't he take Terry McLaurin there
or Marvin Harrison?
I don't know why he just took Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I just have a hard time with Sutton, man.
He could have taken Deshaun Stribling there, and I would have been all right. At least I can.
I love crazy builds. I do. I'm very outspoken with a lot of things I see in these drafts, and I like to beat up teams pretty bad. But to me, you're starting J.K. Dobbins and Aaron Jones. You're drawing dead.
Yeah.
The rest of your team has. Obviously, there's a lot of great players above, but Cortland Sutton, it's just not for me.
Right.
Godwin, yes, I love Godwin, but there's so much 7th round Godwin out there, late 6th, push him up to the 5th.
There's not enough upside in there.
No.
Like you mentioned, Marvin Harrison. It would have been nice to sprinkle him in there because if you're going McConkey is a very safe play. T. Higgins, I guess contingent upside of a Chase injury, but still, like these are all very kind of like safe and boring plays. Like if you're going to build a team like this, where does the upside come from? I guess like if Trey McBride and Colston Loveland just end up being the complete nuts pick, right? Like just literally both of them having over 300 PPR points, which, in this format, you can be the number 1 player in the format. Like if that happens, then I guess the rest of you're just one of the teams that's jumbled into the mix where like now it falls down to what happens during the playoff weeks. But like, I don't know, not enough upside, man. Godwin, one of Godwin or Sutton and somebody with a little more juice would have been.
Eliminate Sutton and put Jadarian Price, Jonathan Brooks, Tony Pollard, Ramondre
Let's talk
Stevenson
about
in
Price
there.
for a second.
And
Cool.
then
What is your
Stribling
opinion
with
on
Aaron
Price?
Jones, and I'm
Hey,
way
well,
aboard this team.
Terp, I was going to bring up Price. We're going to start with Coop, go to Terp, because Terp, you had a Jadarian Price tweet. Coop, where are you at on the Seahawks rookie running back?
Yeah, with any like these rookie situations, like you see it around the industry, a lot of people saying they definitively know one way or the other. And I think that's kind of, to me, the only take that is wrong. Like anybody saying he's a definite smash or anyone saying that he's a definite bust, we couldn't possibly know. Like we have not seen this guy even at the college level as a full-time player, as a starter, right? Like we didn't even get to see him at Notre Dame as the full-time guy. So like you couldn't possibly know. There's no question he has massive upside if he just takes this offense and runs with it. And here's the thing. If this team is playing Super Bowl caliber football again and he's running all over teams, Zach Charbonnet is not going to show up and ruin that. Like they're not going to go away from that down the stretch. The concern, of course, as everybody knows, is that what if this guy does play like a rookie? And what if George Holani does play just enough snaps to be annoying? And then when Zach Charbonnet comes back, they say, oh, nice, another piece of this rotation, right? So like in a big tournament like this, for me, I have no problem taking players like that. Like I'll never look at a player like Jonathan Brooks or Jadarian Price and say that's a bad pick, because it could be an incredible pick. But I do like having him as my third running back the way that Team 5 did, right? Team 5 has rock solid wide receivers, and they have Jadarian Price in a spot where they don't even need to start him early on if there's any problems. It's just, with Price, I just feel like when you're making that pick, you are kind of betting your whole season on it, right? Like I guess you can recover from a 6th-round pick bust, but it's tough.
Mm-hmm. Terp, you had a tweet this, I think just the other day, where you said, I'm starting to buy into Jadarian Price, and that scares me.
I said I'm buying into it. I said I was worried about. He's been a fade to me in the whole offseason. I don't have much Jadarian Price.
I don't either.
Much
to be honest,
on the side of Coop when it comes to pretty much what he said on the bad side. That's pretty much where I stand with him. Right, wrong, or indifferent, doesn't matter. But I'm starting to worry a little bit because he's starting to get moved up. I don't know if it's groupthink. I don't know if it's just the hype that's surrounding a rookie of unknown right now. But I don't have much, and it's definitely worrying me right now. But to get him in the 6th round, like Team 5, we go back. Team 5 has had a ridiculously good drafts too so far. Mm-hmm. Running backs are solid, receivers are loaded. You take a shot on a guy like Jadarian Price,
Jamar value
stacked with Lamar and Flowers, which I love. You take the upside of Michael Wilson. There's no downside in that pick. If you put Jadarian Price on a 0 RB team, people are going to say oh yeah, that's still shooting for the moon. That's great if it works out. Boom, and they're right. But it also could be just a total team killer where you're getting them. So
Jake, that's the problem.
It's Russian roulette when you're playing and you're trying to win $1 million. Everybody goes in with different mentalities. If you look at Jadarian Price versus J.K. Dobbins, I might eat these words, but J.K. Dobbins isn't winning you $1 million. Jadarian Price has the ability to win you $1 million. So does Jonathan Brooks. So does Travion Henderson, who people are just absolutely just despising these days. Fair, not fair, doesn't matter. Blake Corum, guys like that. These guys have the ability to win you $1 million. Mm-hmm. Certain guys like J.K. Dobbins and Aaron Jones, if that Team 12 wanted to buy into it, there's plenty of just Marshawn Lloyds of the world that they should be drafting. Total guys that are swings, but if they swing right, then that team, starts really hitting the ground running when the receivers can get them to week 4 or 5, and then see what happens.
So to your point on that, real quick, J.K. Dobbins, now that they have R.J. Harvey and Jonah Coleman, the conditions are too steep to get him to be kind of an every down league destroyer. Same with Aaron Jones has that AC joint issue. I don't think he could handle a full workload. Once you get those AC joint problems, man, that's a contact injury, right? There's no Jordan Mason injury happens. I'm not sure you can just lean on Aaron Jones. I just don't even think that would even necessarily work. So to that, I totally am with you on that point of what would the conditions be for these guys to become absolute face melters? I guess scoring 6-7 touchdowns over the last couple of weeks is within the range of outcomes for any of these guys. But for them to just run away with it, I don't know. What do you think, Jake, on Jadarian Price? Is that a pick you've been clicking a lot?
No, honestly, I'm in the same boat as you and Terp. The upside worries me because when Charbonnet does come back, he's going to eat into Price's workload, right? Like they're not just going to go away from Charbonnet. Like he's going to have a role, especially towards the end of the season. I would rather much take a flyer on Brooks, or I'm really starting to get into RJ Harvey, but I just
famous last words. Famous
no,
last words.
Harvey
killed me last year, dude.
Harvey look.
Yeah.
I base a lot what I see on the preseason. Him and Bucky Irving, I completely flipped my script on both of them.
So you're in on Bucky now, Jake?
I'm definitely in on Bucky now.
Because the price hasn't really pushed back up, and he's looking.
No, but I'm moving him up pretty much over Judkins, Tootin, Montgomery, because the issue with Irving was never his skill set; it was his mental health. Right, the skill set is there. In 2024, he exploded with Rashad White. He can do it with Gainwell. And after watching him play the other day, he just looks back to me. And last year was going the second or third round. Now you're getting a 3-round discount. And what has changed? They got Gainwell. Yeah, Gainwell's a little bit better than White at this point, but Bucky's still, the starting running back on that team.
Yeah, that team also had a lot of offensive line injuries, man, the last couple of years, really. So Bucky's a pick I haven't been making all summer, and then I'm with Jake. I'm protecting myself now with a floor of that player because, like, again, you got to account for the possibility that these guys can just run away with it. So I've mixed them in. I have a ton of Gainwell already, so I don't need more Gainwell.
A ton of Gainwell.
Yeah, the chat points it out, dude, that ADP auto pick should get the bottom of the ADP scum of the earth.
Every time.
That team, I mean, it sucks because in these big tournaments, man, it ruins the experience.
The entire draft. That Chase team, I mean, probably doesn't matter, but the Higgins team.
Yeah, you're just not getting when they're scraping the top player in ADP from the top, it ruins the possibility that you can get a guy 2 to 3 rounds after where he's going. And there's some
picks after where he's going is a big difference in these.
And there's some weirdos in here.
You can tell, at least they set their cue. This one doesn't necessarily look like that.
The worst part about it is the team is not that bad. Like the team overall is not like a terribly drafted team.
Until the Burrow Jalen Hurts.
It kind of ruins everything.
Mm-hmm. Another player I'm getting in on is Ramondre Stevenson because
I wanted to ask you why
it's not a 1A, it's not a 1A, 1B. It's Ramondre's a starter and Henderson is the backup.
This is the first draft we've done where I think Ramondre has gone ahead of Travion. And that's really because of both the injury, but also just reports about that. So, Jake, obviously, I know I got 2 Pats fans right here with me, Coop and Jake. Jake, I want to start with you, then go to Coop. Jake, what are you hearing up there in New England? You're in on Ramondre. Is Travion a best ball player just due to his explosive play? And Ramondre is your managed league? Where are you at on, you say you're in on Ramondre, but what does that leave you on Travion?
Well, Travion, I'm definitely pushing down to probably where he goes round 7. I mean, if you get him at your RB3, and then I think it's fine. If you get him at your RB2, I think you're going to be fighting that RB2 spot. But Stevenson, he's great in pass pro. His only, real issue is the fumbling, but he looks faster. He's catching more balls out of the backfield. He's clearly the running back 1 in that offense. Trevion's dealing with that little ankle injury now. We don't really know how bad that is. But I thought all offseason, the 6th round was the hardest round to figure out who to draft, and Stevenson just sliding into that 6th round for me is a click every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's with Travion. I'm fully with Jake that I still love to take him as my RB3 because with his rookie year and even into his second year, Jahmyr Gibbs was a terrible pass blocker, legitimately bad, and David Montgomery was getting those snaps, and David Montgomery. In year 2 of Gibbs's season, the year 2 of Gibbs's career, David Montgomery was the RB8 when he got hurt. And Gibbs was just so good that he, was right there with him. And then when Montgomery got hurt, he ended up being the RB3. When those guys, before Montgomery got hurt that year, both those guys were easily startable in fantasy. So, I mean, it could be possible with the Patriots. I don't think they have that kind of offensive line. The Lions had at the time like that. But with Travion Henderson, when you take the totality of the quotes about him, it really sounds like this is not a talent issue. It is a comprehension issue. because when you got the pass blocking problems, that's usually one of the number one things. But then you got Mike Vrabel talking about his vision and his patience, right? And to me, that sounds like a guy who doesn't understand the difference between the way you need to play on a zone blocking play versus a man blocking play.
Right. If the play is scripted to hit the A gap, B gap, he's not doing that. If you watched last year, a lot of his explosive plays were him breaking out of a group tackle. Like he hits the A gap, they crowd it, he busts to the left side and scores a touchdown. Like he was not efficient when following the right play. He just made plays happen because he's an explosive. Right.
It sounds like, and going back and watching a ton of it, it's like he's trying to be shot out of a cannon, and then they're trying to run a zone play where you need to have some patience and look for cutback lanes, and he's trying to fire off, and then they'll run a wham block or something, or they'll run like a trap with a guard where you're supposed to be shot out of a cannon, and he's not doing that. Like, it sounds like he doesn't understand some of the concepts. And when it happens in pass blocking, when you literally can't count guys off the mic and understand that if two guys switch spots right before the snap, you got to change who you're picking up. Like, you cannot play in 2-minute drill. Like, comprehension is the biggest thing for 2-minute drill because you can't come out of the game. You got to know all the plays. You got to know all the audibles. You got to be able to execute every single thing. Like, if you can't do that, you won't play in the 2-minute drill. And so many running back points come from the 2-minute drill. It's
not on that team either. Not on a team that's trying to get back to the Super Bowl. It's not like playing on like a
dude. You can accumulate 7 PPR points like that on a 2-minute drill.
That's why I still love Rachaad White. Like, he's one of the best he's one of the best pass blockers. He's one of the best third down backs in the league, I think, right now. When it comes down to it, he's going to be in on third down 2-minute drills. He's going to he could average 4 or 5 catches a game. That's in the offense. He's not going to run a lot. They have JCM, but it's like he's free where he goes, and he can easily put up 10 to 12 points a game just on these little dinky passes.
Right, guy. There's been a lot of guys through history that just couldn't figure it out, dude. Damian Pierce, Philip Lindsay. Everyone asks Philip Lindsay, why does he run for 1,000 yards every year and then he's out of the league? It's like he just couldn't figure out certain aspects of the game. Couldn't figure out the pass blocking part of the game, and that happens, man. So that's the downside case for Travion. The upside case is that this guy is just nasty at football, because like we've seen, he ran back the first time he touched the football, he ran back a kickoff for a touchdown. So like the upside case is there, but it's just this guy's got to figure it out. 100%.
You saw what he did when Stevenson was hurt last year. He was like a top 3 running back.
Yeah, he's also a 140-yard rushing game.
He needed a lot of work to, a lot of touches to get there.
Football is just, this goes back to my time playing Pop Warner. Is that football? The first thing first is execution. If you make mistakes, then it ruins everything. It really does. Like, if you just can't do your job and you're the weak link in the chain, it ruins everything. It doesn't matter how many good plays you can make if you can't execute the basic plays. I mean, I know dudes that could throw a strawberry through a battleship, but they can't turn around and hand the ball off. They can't remember the plays, so they never could have played quarterback.
Well, here's a prime example. Tyrone Tracy missing that block in the preseason led to him getting benched.
Bad memories.
So he missed the block. He's done. Cam Scadaboo's affected by Najee Harris now. In my opinion, all because he missed that block.
Right?
I
mean,
Travion
Henderson last year, to put it in perspective, Travion Henderson during the Miami Dolphins game, the first Miami Dolphins game, he came out and he missed his block, and then the next play he got a holding penalty. And then like 2 drives later, Ramondre Stevenson called like a 50-yard wheel route. And after the game on WEI on his interview, Mike Vrabel straight up said, that play was designed for Travion Henderson, and we ran it with Travion Henderson in practice. And Ramondre Stevenson just happened to be in the game. That's what he said. Just happened to be in the game. He didn't just happen to be in the game. The other running back basically screwed up in back-to-back plays, and then he was put back in the game. Like that, those little things are the difference for everything for these guys, man. And it makes me super nervous, dude. And with Ramondre, like at the very least, he's kind of the David Montgomery from those Gibbs years to me. Like, he's not going to go away completely. There's no way. Like, that is as safe of a pick as you can make. I hate the pick as my running back 4, though. Like, he's the kind of guy I'll pick as my RB2 as part of a hero or zero tight end build, RB build, where I say to myself, okay, I need somebody who's going to be in my lineup every week. That's the kind of guy Ramondre is. He's not going away. It's just a matter of, can Travion become so special that he has to play?
Hey, and Ramondre RB4 auto draft in general. When you know you're drafting live with Andrew Cooper on the call,
show up, man.
You're embarrassing all of us.
Jobber stuff.
David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson is the most white bread with a piece of white bread sandwich in the middle I've ever seen.
No upside.
No, dude. It's literally it's a toast where the filling is another piece of bread.
Yeah.
The Woody Marks buzz is real with Montgomery, though. Like, I thought he was going to be like 75% of the snaps.
He's got some juice, man.
Can we talk about maybe? I want to go to Terp here because me and Terp had talked about it previously, and we should have talked about it a while. Terp, what are you? You're in these draft rooms. You've been doing it. You've been taking the risk. What are you doing with Ashton Genty?
I'm going to continue to take him every single time that I get a chance to pair up with these guys at the top. I did a baby gorilla the other day. Bijan, Ashton Genty, Malik Neighbors start. I don't care if it gets me if I totally blow up, but if that team hits the ceiling that it can hit, there's no team out there that has those three guys. And I look at it like that. Is Ashton Genty a risk? Obviously, there's a lot of unknown right now, high, low, whatever it is on the ankle. But how do I ever say no to that? Ashton, this is a great time if you're a risk taker like myself to take as much Ashton Genty as you can. Does it have the thing to blow up in your face if it's a serious injury and he takes a while? Yeah, but I don't care about the first couple weeks. If he misses the first 2 weeks and I got Bijan Robinson, I'm fine. I'm good.
Right. I'm so with you, Terp. If he gets hurt or he doesn't, whatever, it'll just be another one of my teams that doesn't win, which is like all of them. You know what I mean?
If it's right.
But if it's right, maybe I win. And that's the whole thing is maybe I win. That's the whole point of this is like, let's give ourselves a real shot at winning, dude.
If I can get to the sprint and I can get to the last 3 weeks with Robinson, with Ashton Genty and Malik Neighbors to start off, they're all healthy. Nobody has that combination if they all click.
Bijan Robinson could be the best running back ever and then have a bad game in week 15 and you lose. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's possible.
Give yourself a shot at upside. Give yourself a shot at
Genty is just handcuff him with Washington. Like, if I'm drafting Genty, I'm just handcuffing him with Washington. If I'm doing one team,
that's one of the rare situations where I might be okay with handcuffing. Or now the thing is, now it's become expensive because now people are drafting Washington too high.
People don't even know Mike Washington's name.
Although Washington hasn't gone in this draft, somewhat surprising because
I'm surprised, very surprised.
Yeah,
there's been a couple of falls. I will say, I want to ask you guys. We've all been in the high stakes world of fantasy football for a while. Some more than others. Have you guys ever seen anything like the 12 hours where Ashton Genty was falling to the 10th, 11th, 12th round in drafts?
Off the top of my head, no, but like
that's
crazy.
Not that small of a window for sure.
I saw some tweet today that said Jamar Chase fell the 11th pick. I don't know what site it was.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you. Maybe underdog. I saw him fall. People get scared. The Q when a Q comes up and it says questionable, people are panicked. They see one news thing come out and he's limping off the field. Nobody wants to click that button when you're playing.
The Genty one was beyond that, though. The Genty one was put in the rare circle. Everyone's like, oh, he blew out.
The closest thing to the Genty one, it was a much bigger timeline, but in terms of like the drop and the return, would probably be that time that Tyreek Hill's son broke his arm, and the voicemail came out. Mm-hmm. That was a time where. Yeah. Where the player just went through the floor, and then they were like, oh yeah, by the way, he's not only not getting suspended, but we're going to extend him just so everyone knows that like you have nothing to worry about, right? Then he came all the way back, and then luckily for just everybody out there, except for the people that got the crazy discount on him, Tyreek Hill got hurt that year, so like it didn't end up mattering, right? But like that was a time period where like if you drafted during those what'd you say, about 2 months? But it took place over, like, the team drafted me. The voicemail came out. The team drafted Mecole Hartman, and then by mid-June, everything was fine again. So it was like kind of like that period in May. He was just like.
Am I incorrectly remembering? I don't. It was not nearly as dramatic, but we were, I think, in Vegas a couple years, and then the Kelsey like ankle. I'm not Zeke. It was like Kelsey. I think squeaked his ankle, and then it might have been against the Lions, and he was questionable to play. And
he tweaked it in practice. He tweaked it in practice.
Yeah. So and then
I don't think he fell that much though.
The drop wasn't like that.
Not. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anything compares to a.
What about last year when right a week before the season starts, we're in Vegas. Christian McCaffrey pulls up on the injury report with hamstring tightness. Now he goes from a top 7 pick. He's going in the second round, and then you have teams with like Taylor who
Gibbs, Taylor, and McCaffrey.
McCaffrey and Taylor.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just
that's one, but the Genty one is literally like 11th round. You might
thought he tore his ACL. That's the difference. Is that like
it was just, and it was also that it's rare for the radio silence to occur. Usually you have a hint like team source says it's not looking good. It still is nothing.
It's still radio silence.
And he just said, he's recovering. We have no idea if it's high or low. He's on the pup or not. If I had to guess, and again, what the fuck do I know? I'm assuming based on the severity of how hard, I'm assuming it was a high ankle.
Maybe I read it was a low.
No, they said low.
They said
low. So then what the fuck was he doing, being dramatic?
But at the end of the day, like, that's what's built into every single draft. This preseason with injuries has been absolutely nuts. I think it's one of the, craziest move. Like Jalen Waddle's been moving, Breece Hall's been moving when they were hurt. Devonta Smith's been moving. People left DJ Moore for dead. Luther Burden. I got Luther Burden in like the end of the 5th round in a draft last week. But that's just crazy. Like, he's running on the field. There's no way he's not ready for the opener. Jeremiah Love. Like, if you could figure out a way in these like little small windows, I talk about it all the time, to get these guys right to where you can pull off, like, let's just say Jeremiah Love plays week 1 and Ashton Genty plays week 1. You could put all these guys together on a team. I mean, you're going to have such an advantage if everything hits.
It feels like GameStop is the best comparison. In like 2020 or whatever, 2022 when GameStop, like the stock is just like, you had this window to get the most insane opportunity, stupid opportunity because of this situation.
And you could be wrong. Ashton Genty could be, it could be a high ankle, and then he might be ramped up.
Him falling, I don't think any of us disagreed with based on what we knew. You can't.
The thing is, in hindsight, though, it kind of gave us an idea of how you should treat these situations, though, because and let me know if you guys disagree with this, but like, be going out and being the person that Mike Washington's ADP previously was around like 15, 16 or so.
Yeah,
like
right there.
Going out and being the guy that takes him in the first person to take him in the 6th round.
You're dead.
That's not a plus EV move.
You're on dead.
Giving yourself a shot at maybe having Genty and he doesn't tear his ACL, that like there is positive EV to that potentially, but like at the same time, like, what are the conditions? And again, I was the one that was reacting with a tweet. Terp responded to it, but like, what are the odds that like Genty is the guy you need, and also the build that you were able to create with your Genty 7th round pick is somehow unique and better than everybody else's? I'm not sure it's going to be an industry ruining type window, right?
Because we focus on the 11th, 12th round we hear about. Those were more few and far between. Coop, as you said, it was more so him falling kind of the 7th, 8th, and then teams were taking the dip.
Yeah. Last year, for instance, I did a Sirius XM draft where we drafted on Independence Day, and it was during the Matthew Stafford elbow scare, and I got Puka Nacua in the 2nd round, right? Mm-hmm. And I won that league, but I won that league because I got Puka Nacua in the 2nd round, and then I got JSN in the 3rd round. Like, if I didn't have JSN, I wouldn't have won the league. The discount on the one player didn't win me the league. You still need to have the correct combination of guys. It's like just getting Genty in the 7th round doesn't win you the league. It just gives you a ticket, a unique ticket, and also a plus CLV ticket, which that to me is very important, right? Having incredible closing line value. But the rest of your team still needs to also have the CLV, needs to have the right the right combination of guys. You know, it's
Here's
not
another thing. Oh, sorry. Here's another thing I always think about when like something like this happens is if all you are doing one league, right? One, let's just say $5,000 league. Are you taking Genty? Yes or no?
No.
League, that's it. You have no other leagues.
No, I'm not touching.
No.
Because
like today, but
If you do
I
one
would
league
assume
today-
in the next 2 weeks, clarity is going to emerge of this.
You're drafting today.
I'm not
You're
saying
doing one league for the whole year. Are you taking Genty? Yes or no?
No.
No. That's the way I look at it because some people, watching whatever, they do one league. And it's like, if I'm doing one league, I'm not taking Genty. If I do one league, I'm probably not taking a Hookah. I'm probably not taking Jeremiah Love because I want to draft, you just don't know. But if you're doing volume, you can take these risks.
Right.
If I had 100 teams, I would take Genty in the second round, where this guy
You should be peppering drafts right now to get these different.
Right.
to
get these builds.
My advice to people, though, is that don't do one high stakes draft. Start slower with a handful of $35 entries.
Yeah,
right?
or Baby
Like,
Gorilla, 125.
Baby Gorillas,
Right.
yeah. The Baby Gorilla is a perfect addition to this group. But it's like start with a handful of drafts where you can kind of figure out your style. It's like when you get into DFS, right? Weekly DFS, they tell you don't start by maxing out the Millie Maker. Start by maxing out some 25-cent contest and see if your algorithm and your formula works and your strategy works, and then ramp it up. It's like I wouldn't do just one super high stakes draft in general. I just feel like
we say that at FFPC. Come in. We have if the standalone leagues those start at $5 here. If you want to kind of get accustomed to what a national tournament is, as you mentioned, the $35 Superflex, or if the $125 best ball, the $125 Baby Gorilla. And perfect transition. If I could real quick talk about some of our contests. We got 2 weeks from tomorrow until the NFL kicks off. Our two best ball tournaments are flying. You have those closed Wednesday, September 9th. That's your last day to draft. Superflex best ball is already over 85% full. So that's gone. Best ball tournament, $125 best ball tournament, over 80% full. Those are cooking out drafts every day. If you want to draft in that, you have not yet, or you want to get some more in, now is the time because those things are tracking to sell out before kickoff. In the main event, obviously our flagship contest, $1 million on the line, $6.5 million in the prize pool, closing in on, if not over 75% full. Those drafts go all the way up until opening kickoff on Sunday. The Big Gorilla, which we are covering here today, closing in on 65% full, and the Baby Gorilla, Big Gorilla is $350 $1 million grand prize. Baby Gorilla, which we've talked about, $125. $100,000 grand prize. That is over 60% full as well. So contests aren't a great rate. Really, for those best ball tournaments, if you're going to draft, now's the time because only 2 weeks left. And as I said, they're both almost at only 15% capacity left. And then get in your main event, your Big Gorilla, your Baby Gorillas, all the way up through Sunday, the 13th. So that's just my little spiel about our contests. They're going great. Drafts are going off every single day. Jake, our whole commissioning team are putting in the work, monitoring all these drafts. So they know there's dozens upon dozens upon dozens each day. Back to the draft we're covering, though. There was a lot of discussion a while back, but I want to get back to Turp. I want to go to you. Surprising drop for Rico Dowdle in this draft. He goes at the 904. Besides some names that, to be honest, I don't think he should be going back to. I understand the Steelers' running back room is a little sketchy, but he's been going in the 7th round. We've seen him as high as the 6th. Falls to the 904. This team started Puka, A.J. Brown, Pickens, then goes DeAndre Swift, Junkins, Jonathan Brooks, Travis Kelce, Michael Pittman, and then gets Rico Dowdle, which is, when you're starting 3 receivers, getting a Rico Dowdle in the 9th round is pretty good value. But is there anything to this Rico Dowdle drop? Are you surprised by that?
I mean, it's a little bit of a surprise. It's just a little late for him. Me and Jake go back and forth on Warren versus Dowdle. I mean, to me, with the Steelers, I've been very outspoken on it. When it comes to redraft, it's Jalen Warren or nobody. I just can't get behind anything to do with Aaron Rodgers right now with Metcalf and Pittman. And I don't mind Freiermuth, but, you're probably not taking him any early. So if you get him as your 3rd tight end, fine, whatever. But when it comes to, Warren, pass-catching ability, obviously is good. I know McCarthy has the Dowdle, vibe to him or whatever, but I just can't get behind any Steelers right now. Like certain teams I'm looking at, I'm just like, yeah, I know Mike McCarthy's there. I knew, he's a good offensive mind. I wouldn't call him a great offensive mind. He probably shouldn't have got that job, in my opinion, but he just got it obviously because of Rodgers, trying to get one more positive year out of him. But when it comes to the Steelers, man, I mean, yeah, that's a good pick based off like where he's supposed to be going or where he's been going. But like, it's just hard to get really excited about. We look at tournaments like this. You're trying to get to a ceiling. What Steelers guy is getting you to a ceiling? What is best case scenario? You have DK Metcalf and he has one long, maybe two long touchdowns.
I think it's the running backs because if Warren or Dowdle goes down, you probably have a top 18 running back on your team.
But you're also spending the money to get that.
No, I mean, the thing about Warren is they keep bringing in talent because clearly Warren just isn't that good or he can't handle a full workload.
Let me just say, I'm not taking Jalen Warren in the 6th round of an FFPC.
No, never.
I think that's way too early.
Both running backs last year finished top 24 in this format, for what it's worth. I mean, just based on the pass volume alone to Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, I'm torn on it, man. I will say this: if you listen to what the running back coach has said, this is going to be a split, like potentially down the middle, and probably the most annoying version of split possible, which is like I can stomach knowing who's the starter and knowing who's the pass down back, right? I can stomach the split right down the middle. We want to give everybody the same number of snaps. According to their RB coach, this is going to be a split that is going to be game plan and scheme specific, where they're looking miserable, right, Terp? It's like where they're looking at it, not even saying like the way the comments read to me, not even saying like if we're winning, it'll be this guy. If we're losing, it'll be this guy. It's more like if we think that this team isn't using stacked boxes and we can get away with running a lot of zone run plays, it will be player X. And if we have to go with this guy, if they're loading the boxes and we got to use different style of run blocking, it's going to be this guy. That's something we're not privy to. That's something that's very difficult to predict. Like that is what scares me most. So Jake's absolutely right, if you ask me, of the handcuff plus upside of these guys. But this trying to figure out who's going to be from a game to game or week to week standpoint, it truly could be a nightmare because we might not be able to even establish a pattern during the period where it matters, right? Like if they come out and it's like a Jalen Warren day, a Rico Dowdle day, and then a Jalen Warren day, now all of a sudden it's week 5 and we have no idea who it's going to be the next week. Like
that's why I'd rather take whoever goes later.
Whoever goes later is who I would take as well.
Also, if you had to decide between Pollard and Warren, who are you going?
Pollard.
Sam.
Who said Warren?
Me.
Not me. I said Pollard.
Jake, weren't you hyping up Tajay Spears to me the other day?
I mean, Tajay Spears, he's doing good, and he's getting targeted out of the backfield.
Look where he's going.
This all helps.
Can we talk about the Titans real quick? How concerned are we based on what we're seeing from them? Cardinal Tate's doing nothing. I know it's preseason.
I'm not concerned at all. I've been fading Tate for 5 months.
Well, Terp and me have not been fading Tate. Terp, are we still diamond hands on this, or is there cracks forming?
A little worried. Just a little. Not a lot. Preseason. I don't like what I see from Cam Ward. We
always talked about Tate and Jordan Tyson. What if the answer was neither of them?
What if the answer is that this is one of the worst draft classes of all time?
Yeah,
that is possible.
It was always Tate for me, but I'm a little bit worried.
The Jets were able to trade back up into the first round, and it cost them only a 5th round pick.
And that guy is playing more snaps than any first-round receiver has played in a preseason in years, which is not what you want to hear.
Those the 5th round pick. They got back.
80 Mitchell to the moon. All that we need to know.
They got back into the first round to take whoever they wanted with that pick for a 5th round pick, and the Seahawks reportedly tried to get out of that pick, and nobody wanted it. That scares me big time. Also, the team's loading up on the weapons from this draft. If you're a dynasty player, brother, for the Jets to take 2 of them and the Browns to take 2 of them,
Jesus, you should have been. I know everyone says it, Jake. I know is that you need to be You should have been selling all picks, all assets if you were rebuilding to get 20.
I had picked 1-3 in my rookie draft this year. I traded it for a 2027 first. I don't even care what it ends up as.
It could be 112, and that's okay.
It could be 112, bro.
That's
It's
gonna be
crazy.
It could be. It could be.
The best RB went to the Cardinals, who literally tied for the fewest playoff wins of every team, despite being a team that's been around for 100 years, tied with the Texans, right? Who became a team in 2002. One of the worst organizations. Like, if the Browns didn't exist, everyone would say the Cardinals is the worst organization in all four major sports. In my opinion.
The Cardinals are arguably worse because
they really are. They truly are.
They're, you know what's worse than being known for just being constantly bad is being irrelevant.
Nobody
Outside
cares.
of Fitzgerald, like no one cares. Like
But-
there's just more.
But from the Cardinals' perspective, I'm not in any way giving them credit for anything. They can find a quarterback. They have everything else on the offensive side.
I worry that with some of these organizations that the quarterbacks, they do find the quarterbacks, and the organization is, and Michael Bidwell is so incompetent. There's a real possibility that Kyler Murray is actually pretty good. Sam Darnold went from the Jets to the Panthers, and everyone said, what a terrible pick. And then he went to play for the 49ers for a cup of coffee and became a guy that wins 14 games with the Vikings and then wins
What
the
about
Super Bowl.
Mayfield? Mayfield was literally
Mayfield, perfect example. That's why I'm buying Kyler Murray, because A, he runs, and every quarterback, listen to this stat. I pulled every quarterback that has run 5 times a game, averages, I put my hand on the screen right when you put William Schleman's name right over. Well, thanks, Aidan. Every quarterback to run 5 times a game and play 16 games. So just play the season, right? Every quarterback to run 5 times a game and play 16 or more games has finished top 10 in fantasy for over the last decade. You have to go all the way back to Colin Kaepernick to find a quarterback that ran 5 times a game and played 16 games and didn't finish top 10. Like, the floor for these guys, and we're talking 5 times a game is 85 carries. Jackson Dart ran 86 times last year in just 12 games. Like, if you are willing to run, the floor for you is top 10.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I do think to this day Kyler is a better best ball option because it's just kind of been his career. He has those spikes. But I've said on the show, like, I'll be dreaming of, I have been dreaming of when I click Kyler, it's like, well, Kyler's deep ball is one of the Kyler Murray's deep ball, regardless of what you think, is one of the best in the league.
Kyler Murray.
I'm surprised Kyler doesn't look. His range where he's going in now is right. I'm surprised that I don't see an occasional draft where someone pushes him up to QB 10, QB 11.
I have him ranked. I've had him ranked QB 13 all summer. When he got the starting job, I didn't even move him up because I wasn't going to move him ahead of Mahomes. But if you take every quarterback all time and sort them by fantasy points per game, all time. So put Peyton Manning in there, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Kyler Murray is QB 8 on that list. Forget what you say about him being a leader. Forget what you say about him being first in the chow line. I don't care if this guy is a leader or a winner.
Oh, guys,
all he has to do is play.
This is a great bit. Team 1 comes off auto pick to take Denver defense, goes back on auto.
I hate this guy, dude. Dude, the only thing that would make it funnier it would be if this guy's watching right now and just watching the screen and
just no idea who he is.
He's like the Joker. He just wants to see if anyone would notice. That's great.
My god!
I do want to get back to you. You don't agree on the Kyler love. It seems
I've always been outspoken on Kyler Murray, and it's. I'm just a hater, and I'm never going to back off.
He's a horrible football player, but he's
a horrible football player.
He could get benched, man. I mean,
I get it.
Wentz looked good. Wentz looked good in the preseason.
Right. He's a horrible football player. Great fantasy player, though.
Correct.
He's he's the.
I still won't draft.
Kyler Murray is the Michael Jordan of Justin Fields.
Don't
put
Kyler Murray and Michael Jordan in the same category again. I'm going to boot you off the show.
It was a great analogy.
It was a horrific analogy.
He's a Tom Brady. He's a Tom Brady of Justin Fields.
I get the analogy.
He and Malik Willis could prove this year that quarterback scoring is broken to the point where we might need to do something. That's the point I'm making.
I agree. Malik
Malik
Willis.
Willis, if Malik Willis could be the first quarterback since Colin Kaepernick to run 5 times a game and not finish top 10.
Wait, can I talk about the Dolphins for a second? So I've been reading a bunch into like training camp, and I guess they have been, as we all expected, literally awful. Like
yes. Reading about the Dolphins is Jake is admirable.
Sicko, dude.
They are getting like dominated in these joint practices. So for fantasy, this is great because they're going to be behind and they're going to be throwing the ball. With the one drive with the starters 2 weeks ago when I watched it, I believe it was 5 passes and 7 rushes. A-Chain had all the rushes, didn't come off the field one time. 3 targets to Malik Washington and 2 to Caleb Douglas. Right?
Catch by Caleb Douglas too.
Exactly. Malik Washington could be like a 5 to 6 round discounted Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what if he's Wan'Dale Robinson from the year before last, where he has 140 targets and doesn't have 700 yards?
Right. Exactly. And then A-Chain is
still not a bad pick of where he's getting drafted.
Yeah, 15th round. He goes.
I pulled it up just to see that Wan'Dale Robinson season, and I could only find one season where a guy got 140 targets and had fewer yards.
Crowder.
No, you wouldn't get it. I never would have guessed. It was it was a Dolphin actually. There's a really good hint.
Brian Hartline?
Before.
Devontae. Oh.
Was actually really good.
Jarvis Landry?
No, before that.
It was before Brian Hartline?
Before Brian Hartline.
I was like 8.
Yeah. It was Chris Chambers.
Oh, whatever. I don't even know who that is.
When Nick Saban.
That was before my time, Coop.
Okay, well, but Terp, Nick Saban, Chris Chambers was a good player, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, but it was Nick Saban's year when he was the coach, and he just thought that he could just like pull in college dink and dunk stuff, and it was a nightmare. But like that's the only player to get that many targets and have fewer yards than Wan'Dale did. That Wan'Dale season was truly insane. 140 targets, didn't have 700 yards. So like, but to your point on Malik Washington, man, like I'm taking stabs on that team. Greg Dulcich is a guy I like taking. This tight end room, like
all aboard, baby.
Those are my guys.
Tight end, man.
Those are my boys, dude. The Mark Andrews, Chicken
I was a little worried about a report I read though that he was splitting passing downs with another tight end.
Positive vibes only here on Greg.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
Brother, the floor for that guy is zero.
They're going to throw the ball so much. Like, I don't know how people can't be in on A-Chain. He's not going to come off the field.
He can't.
I mean, if he gets hurt, it is what it is. But
right. I mean, I think Dulcich. I think he's going to be the upside case is that they're going to use another inline tight end, Will Keck-Merrick or whatever they want to do. That was always going to happen, but it doesn't affect the possibility that he gets used like Johnny Smith or Darren Waller, 2 guys that both ran 70% of their routes from a wide receiver spot with this team. And last year, Bobby Slowick was the pass game coordinator, so he was around for all that. And Dulcich last year, when Waller got hurt, came out and had a couple 5-catch games, But again, the floor for Dulcich is so terrible, and the ceiling even isn't crazy high. But I mean, like, you never know. I mean, I've seen Logan Thomas finish tight end 3, converted quarterback on a bad Washington team.
Gary Barnfield when he was on the Browns, like
don't disrespect Gary Barnage.
Gary Barnage, baby.
Barnage was.
Yeah. It was before any of our time, but did a 34-year-old Pete Retzlaff came out of nowhere. Gary
everybody seems to be fading Christian McCaffrey. It's a popular thing in the high stakes world. Everybody hates him. Nobody wants to draft him. Well, who cares about that? Jordan James or Keelan Black? Because if you're fading Christian McCaffrey, you should be overloaded on those guys.
Keelan Black all the way.
Right?
I'm hearing good things about Keelan Black, and I was a Jordan James guy, dude. Like the argument on Jordan James is simple. He at Oregon, he was behind Bucky Irving, right? And you just say we didn't see him, but like I think this 49ers front office, I don't think they're immune to hearing the criticism on Dazon Stribling and Keelan Black and how nobody liked the picks, and I think that they potentially could give those guys every opportunity to prove everybody wrong. So,
but that is a system that you don't need to be the most talented player to succeed. Every running back that went after McCaffrey, whether it be Jordan Mason, Isaac Orlando, they all he didn't really play, but they all did good.
No, even before that,
honestly, I'm just drafting
Carlos Hyde. Just name
Frank Gore. It doesn't matter.
Stribling. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm still drafting Christian McCaffrey, but there's an opportunity there for sure.
I will say we kind of talk not to
the reason I
real
like
quick.
dribbling is because he attacks the ball, right? And he's not sitting there waiting for he goes out and he gets the ball. Yes, he might not be.
He had great underlying stats at Ole Miss.
Yeah, he might not have the best metrics, but he from the eye test he passes it, and I think he's gonna be a good player.
He needs to get into that wide receiver 2 chair, because the wide receiver 3 in this scheme is usually a super part-time player, and it's because of Kyle Juszczyk. Because Kyle Juszczyk needs to get his 40% snaps, right? Yep. And they're not going to come from McCaffrey, and they're not going to come from Kittle. So somebody has to come out.
If he's out there.
What do you say?
They're not coming from Mike Evans if he's out there.
They're not coming from Mike Evans. And historically, we even saw it with Juwan Jennings. It was like Ayuk and Debo, and when one of those guys got hurt, Juwan Jennings would go in there and be awesome. And then when one of those guys came back, he would come out, because they're going to use these blocking tight ends. They used to use Charlie Warner. Now they use Luke Farrell and Jake Tonjes. When these jumbo guys come in the game, someone has to come out. So if Stribling can get that wide receiver 2 spot, and Debo is the part-time guy, then it's wheels up, man, because whoever is in those full-time roles, the targets and snaps are so consolidated. It's so great. Same thing we saw with
you draft him and you hold him almost, because I don't see Evans playing the full season. He's already banged up.
Not with that substation.
You draft him, you hold him, dude. And that's the thing with, like you saw with the Dolphins, who's been with Tyreek Hill and Waddle, who's been the wide receiver 3? It just never mattered. Yeah. And now you saw it with Bobby Slowick when he was with the Texans. He used Andrew Beck at fullback, and it was Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and then nobody. That's why Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, if it's him, those guys have massive upside, and then Trey Harris has big contingent upside, but could be the outside guy looking in. But I love anytime a team uses the fullback, I love it, because last year, Julian Hill and Alec Ingold, they combined, I just tweeted this the other day, they combined for over 800 snaps and touched the ball between them 35 times. You have those guys soaking up. A couple of years ago, Charlie Warner and Kyle Juszczyk combined for 800 snaps and combined for 20 targets. The more snaps those guys soak up, eligible receivers that don't ever touch the ball, it just consolidates everything amongst the other guys. Anytime someone said, I see a fullback, I love it for the other guys. But it really does hurt the wide receiver 3s badly.
I will say on Stribling, with no basis behind it, and not to jump scare you, there's an avenue where Deshaun Stribling is this year's version of Terrace Marshall, Marquez Callaway.
1,000%.
That's it right there, is that he plays 20% of the snaps because he's rotating with Luke Farrell and
how you say the same thing.
Those were the 2 guys who just were preseason hype, rookies, exploded into the 7th, 8th, 9th rounds, and then did literally nothing throughout the year.
Those 2 guys, Concepcion and Stribling, one of them is probably very likely to be a massive bust. I'm on the Stribling thing just because I trust Kyle Shanahan.
Which other guy did you mention?
Casey Concepcion.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's just not enough snaps for all these guys, man.
Casey Concepcion, I'm fine in best ball with, just because of.
I'm fine with both of them with the upside.
I like Concepcion in redraft. Did you see how they used him in the preseason? They were giving him end arounds.
But here's my thing. And shout out our guy, right? Theo Greminger, but Theo's pushing him to the 6th round, and that's starting to. I can't do that. Yeah. I can't do that.
Just you have to recognize the possibility that Jerry Jeudy and Harold Fannin. I mean, those guys could both just get 100 targets again, like they did last year. Everyone hates Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Judy's contract is, very difficult. He definitely can't be released this year or next year. Any team that trades for Jeudy, they're going to have to give the Browns a great pick, because the Browns have to eat all that money. So to get Jeudy away from them, it's not like, oh yeah, we'll give you a 5th round pick for Jeudy. The Browns have no incentive to do that, because they have to eat all the money, and whatever team gets Jeudy, no money goes with him because it's all guaranteed. The Browns' contract for Jerry Jeudy is so bad. The Deshaun Watson contract is so bad. We don't even think about how bad the Jeudy contract is, which is
Browns
also
giving out bad contracts. Call me shocked.
Yeah, for real,
Coop,
dude.
I did want to get a question in the chat for you because you are the
Yeah.
tight end whisperer, as you're known. I got to scroll up. It was the great KT. Can you guys talk about Arande Gadsden? I understand Joku Kohler is there, but dude was killing it last year. He's not just going to go away. I feel like he should be at least an 11th, 12th round.
No, he's going away.
No,
He could just go away, man.
It's not McDaniel's guy. McDaniel's brought in he saw the talent. Gadsden can't block. Right.
It's just fifth round picks. Like, we view it so much different than teams do. It's even with Scatabo and Tracy, like the Giants were spending the fourth least money of any team on the position. And they looked at it and they said, we got a fourth and fifth round pick. Let's just bring in Najee Harris. Let's bring in another guy. This is one of our weakest positions. And that's what the Chargers did. Their starting tight end was a fifth round converted wide receiver, and they said this is one of our weakest positions. So they brought in guys. The thing is, the upside case can still be made, right? The same one you make for Greg Dulcich. You say, okay, if the pass catching tight end for this team can run a ton of his routes from a wide receiver spot, there's upside there, but it could just also be a big rotation. Charlie Kohler is going to be the inline tight end, at the very least, do what Julian Hill did last year, which is played a big amount of snaps. My Patriots gave him a bunch of money, and he already got hurt. Julian Hill done for the year, but like Charlie Kohler could be the inline tight end, and then these two guys rotate as part-time pass-catching tight ends behind Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, and they're rotating with Trey Harris. Like, we see that already. We have that set up with the Bengals, where Drew Sample is the blocking tight end, and Mike Gesicki and Tanner Hudson are the other two guys. The reality of the tight end position is that there's 32 teams. How many fantasy relevant, even in tight end premium, how many fantasy relevant guys do we have? 15, would you say? Like guys that you can start.
Probably like a
15 is probably a good number, but that's probably tough.
Even that, I would say more like 10 to 12.
In tight end premium, yeah, the guys you can start at the flex, right? 15 at most. There's 32 teams. That means more teams are going to not have a tight end that we care about than will have one. And the Chargers, unfortunately, just might be one of those teams.
You just can't draft and redraft. If you want to take a shot in best ball, fine. Knock yourself out. But
right. I'd rather sit and try and add them off waivers. And you can't do that here because they're all going to get drafted here.
Rather draft Evan Ingram and pray.
Wait, cool. Can we go back to the player props real quick?
I did want to get back in. How do you utilize, DraftKings, BetMGM? How do you utilize player props, team win totals to help you fantasy?
The number one way I use them that I think everyone should be doing is injury news, right? Let's see if they take them down. Like all summer, you've been able to bet the under on Luther Burden if you want. But they took down Alec Pierce. They took down Malik Neighbors was never up. They took down Sam Laporta. They took down, they took down Jordan Tyson. Like, I look at it and I say to myself, if DraftKings is going to let me bet the under on Luther Burden, that means that these books that have much more riding on it than I do believe this is the real chance this guy's going to play or miss very minimal time. So, like, the first thing I do is injury health. I think that's very important. It's like, let's see. Do they going to take the guy down? The moment they take him down, I'm like, this could be serious. But if they're going to leave him up and let me bet, especially, again, with a guy, Burden's a really good example. Like, if they're just going to leave him up the entire time, then they clearly don't think that this guy's going to miss serious time. So that's one way.
Genty, out of curiosity.
Sorry?
What did they do with Breece Hall and Genty?
Breece Hall is down. Genty came down and then went back up. I believe Genty might not be back up yet. But
Genty's line, I know, yard was 974.5, which
when I say down,
a certain someone in this room, myself, was going to absolutely hammer that. And
when I say down, I don't mean like they lower the numbers. I mean take them off the board completely.
Yeah.
So Breece Hall taken off the board.
Breece Hall, last I checked, was off the board.
Huh.
Yeah, which is that's a concern, man. And again, if you see a line on like a prediction market, like a Kalshi, you have to definitely check the juice because they'll leave them up and they'll set the under at like minus 4,000, where you realistically can't bet it. You know what I mean? The other thing I do is I go in and I just take the receptions, yards, and touchdowns, and I translate that to PPR points just to see which market is different. But I'll say this right now. there are people out there that will tell you if the odds are high on a player, Vegas prop bets, that you should move them up in your drafts. And that is not how you should operate. You should treat them as two separate markets. And you look at the two markets and say, okay, this guy's wide receiver 10 based on the props. This guy's wide receiver 10 based on the ADP. Good. There's no leverage there. If there's a major difference, then you go in and you say to yourself, okay, do I like this player? If so, then maybe I will bet the over on some props. If the props seem low to me compared to ADP. For instance, Josh Downs, even after the Keenan Allen news, even now, he's going like his prop bets have him like 10 spots higher than where he is in the wide receiver rankings. Not in ADP, in the wide receiver rankings. His reception totals are set at like 67.5. His yards are set at almost 800. Still, even after the Keenan Allen news, right? Like they're saying this guy should be going a lot earlier than he is. Yeah. On the flip side, man, I want to ask you guys about this one because this one has me shook. DJ Moore, man. The over-under reception number for DJ Moore is set at 59.5.
Is he in the 700s?
I saw your tweet, and I cannot believe that to be accurate. And I'm not saying you're wrong, obviously, but that is insanity.
It's insanity.
That's one where it's too good to be true, and then Vegas is always right.
They haven't changed it. Right now, I have it up on my screen. Right now, I can bet on DJ Moore to have 60 catches this year, 59.5. They have Khalil Shakir set at 62.5, Jake.
Well, Terp, what do you think the reasoning? Put your devil's advocate. Like I'm trying to. What's the devil's advocate that they're seeing? Injury? Just he's not as good. What is it?
Injury washed, I guess. But like
they're taking last year's
drive.
They're taking last year's stats and the Bills spreading the ball around, and they're basically kind of. I think their algorithms and their formula.
They don't really have the spread around team like they used to.
I don't. Nobody's betting it though. Like
and also,
that's how the market
changes. His career was with Joe Brady, right? In Carolina.
If we pulled together, if we all just went and bet it tonight, if everybody watching the show bet it tonight, I wonder if we could get that to come out. I mean, I can't believe it. The day I looked at it, I found 48 players, including multiple running backs and multiple wide receivers that had a line set higher than 59.5. Terp, you're not a believer in Michael Pittman. What do you think his over under reception line is set at?
Probably like 65.
70.
That's
Coop, do you have I have to ask because you do so many great articles. Do you do an article on this? Because
I have a whole article up. Go to type in fantasyalarm.com/ if you just type in if you Google Fantasy Alarm 2026 Vegas odds, I put it all in a chart and I translated in the chart into PPR points. The thing is, I've been doing this for 5 years. Yeah. That's why I warn people: don't just look at the Vegas odds and say I'm just going to draft this guy in fantasy, because sometimes Vegas is right. Sometimes ADP is right. Sometimes none of it matters at all.
Yeah.
But like what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there's a way to create leverage when it doesn't match up. One of them has to be wrong, right? Like one of them is going to be wrong on DJ Moore. Last year, the cover picture for the article was JSN because his over-under reception number was set at 99.5. And I looked at that and I said,
"You're crazy.
You're crazy." I bet the under. I was wrong. He caught over 100 balls. I bet the under, and I drafted him in a bunch of my leagues because I'm like, you know what? I'll hedge it by betting the under that this guy doesn't catch 100 balls. But if they're saying 100 balls, late second-round pick, early third-round pick should be my pick in every draft. And I wish I did pick him in every draft, but I didn't. You know why? Because I'm a coward.
Terp, I want to ask you real quick another question. And it was a guy I think we kind of mentioned in regards to, taking off the board. Alec Pierce for you, Terp. The question essentially, it was way up there. I'm not going to go through it. It was essentially, where is the right place to draft Alec Pierce? Is there a right place to draft Alec Pierce this year? Looking at the draft that we did in March 31st with Coop on the call, Alec Pierce was a mid-6th round pick at wide receiver 33. This draft, where Alec Pierce goes at the 11:07 wide receiver 51, and some would argue that's too high. Where are you at on Alec Pierce? Is there any time?
This is a tough one for me because I'm not drafting much Alec Pierce, but in 11th round, you gotta look at the crystal ball down the road. Like, could Alec Pierce be a guy that gets you, through week 8 and on? Yes. They paid him. When he's back and on that field, they're going to figure out a way to get him the ball. Whether you believe he's that guy that can take that bull and run with it is a different story. So taking him in the 11th round, you take a shot at an upside play, I'm fine with it. If you're taking him any earlier than that, I'm probably out. I've been very outspoken on the Colts. I'm not drafting many Colts. The Daniel Jones, is he 100%? Is Daniel Jones even really good? Jonathan Taylor, they still don't have anybody on the outside. Pierce, if he's ready, if he's not ready. They have a lot of guys that seem like they do the same thing. Keenan Allen, Josh Downs, Tyler Warren. I know Tyler Warren's a little bit of a different type of player, but O-line, not great. I don't know. I just think that the Colts are just, if I'm taking some shots, I'll take a shot on a guy like Pierce to give me a, maybe a boom type of situation in a sprint if it hits. But I just think this team's not going to be very good, and I'm just out.
To steal Aidan's line from this show, so far this show, your go-to line in best ball, I think this is right. I mean, like this guy, what he does, you need to bet on him to do something different because like here are his reception totals last 4 years: 41, 32, 37. Last year, 47 catches. I mean, he's never gotten more than 84 targets.
The contract was crazy even before the injury.
People see those big numbers that he put up, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be."
Has anyone ever reached 1,000 yards on less catches? Would he have 1,003, 1,006 yards?
Maybe got Santana Moss. Like you would need to be an extreme field stretcher.
Yeah.
You're right. But hey, but Jake, also probably not. I mean, I'm actually not sure. Like that's
He's also a guy I don't know. I mean, I guess in the 11th round, it's not going to hurt you when people,
Alec Pierce is second. Deshaun Jackson is third. Mike Williams is.
Oh no!
fourth.
Don't give them all away. What is this? What's the category?
The lowest
receptions for 1,000 yards.
One.
Elbert DeBinion, 42 for 1,024 for the Bills in
dude,
1964.
I was gonna say that.
Elbert. You nailed the other ones though, Coop.
Mike
Deshaun.
Williams, Chargers, Mike Williams, or Buccaneers, Mike Williams?
Chargers, Mike Williams.
That tracks 100%.
Chargers, Mike Williams is one of my favorite, funniest players to ever play the game.
Dude,
in terms of he just did not know how to land.
Injury.
He every time he caught the ball, he would drop like a bag of bricks, like a literal bag of bricks, just crashing to the ground.
Put up some big numbers.
Mike Williams, my worst tweet, I would say, and I've had some bad ones. I mean, fantasy receipts just crushed me for JJ McCarthy one. But my worst tweet that ended up being right was I tweeted something that was like, Mike Williams had 1,000 yards, one season with 10 touchdowns. He had one season with 1,000 yards. What if he puts both together? And then that year he did. But that's the worst analysis that you could I just thinking about that tweet makes my skin crawl. That was obviously 5-6 years ago, but I had people circling back being like, this was totally right. And I was like, oh, don't.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, this thing was half a joke. Please don't call it that.
You got to take victory laps where you can get them in fantasy.
Fantasy receipts is back.
Fantasy receipts is back. I won't even tweet anything.
Fantasy receipts.
I will also say the chat is saying I'm taking some strays at Theo. Not intended. Theo, longtime guest, good friend. I was just talking. Theo's the one pushing the KC Concepcion agenda. Yeah. He'll back that up. I just don't agree with him. That's all. Right. No shame on that. And and honestly, he's infinitely smarter than me, so I'm probably the idiot in this. I had one more question for you, Coop. Tight end related. Good. Does George Kittle make the trip to Australia? And if you think the answer is no, how valuable will Jake Tongas be for a free look for these teams in the FFPC Big Gorilla main event, Baby Gorilla?
George Kittle, one of my most drafted tight ends this year, for sure. I mean, that's another one, perfect example. If you don't think George Kittle is going to be George Kittle, bet against it, right? Here are my let me pull the numbers for you folks. Just so I don't want to be making anything up here.
No, pull up the numbers. Jake, any quick thoughts on does Kittle make the trip? Because I feel like if he doesn't make the take, Tongas is a great pick. You're getting
no, and I feel like with the free look in all these drafts, if you take Tongas with your 19th or 20th round pick, there's no downside. We saw it last year with Quentin Johnson. You could really get yourself some leverage in week one, which might not seem like that big of a thing, but the regular season is short. If you can get a big score with somebody who's not going to be on your team for a long thing, why the heck not? We see it every year. And there's usually somebody who, goes nuts. And Isaiah Likely a couple of years ago was a second-round draft pick. How'd that work?
Yeah, I would prefer him not go to Australia because then
I think it would be smart.
Extra days to recover.
Yeah.
It would be smart medically. It doesn't sound like he's going to go on pub. It would be smart to just say, hey, don't deal with the travel, recover week one. But that just makes Tongas to me just an amazing pick in the 18th, 19th rounds as a guy who's going to be the Niners tight end one who performed well when Kittle was out last year. I'm not maybe surprised, but I would think that some people would push him up just to guarantee that free look, the potential that he is a starter for 1 week. But Cooper,
try and tell George Kittle that he's not going to Australia. Right.
Yeah.
Try and tell him that, oh yeah, you're healthy, but we're gonna not play you out of an abundance of caution. George Kittle's going to play, man. And the Vegas odds on him are set where they're usually set, like 700 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. I mean, like, again, another one where it's like, if you don't believe that George Kittle is going to play, then just bet the under on his props. And I think that that's fine for people, but I think, again, I get it. 33 coming off Achilles. Some guys are just different, man. Like, this guy is a freak. Don't be surprised when George Kittle comes out and he's one of the best tight ends in the league because there's just not a lot of great players, and sometimes the great players come back and bounce back, and they're great. I mean, like, you can never really use, like, Jerry Rice as an example, but Jerry Rice tore his ACL and then came out at 34 years old and had the second best fantasy season of all time. You know what I mean? Like, and then he tore his ACL back when they just, like, cut your knee open and like, stapled stuff and just closed it back up. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, George Kittle, if I can get him at tight end 9, I will do that. I misspoke. George Kittle is not my most rostered tight ends. My most rostered tight ends are Greg Dulcich, Kyle Pitts. Greg Dulcich is like one with like a bullet. Kyle Pitts, Terrence Ferguson, and then George Kittle.
So, Aidan, before we get off the stream, Coop, one question. Obviously, the top 4 tight ends, Bowers, McBride, Loveland, Warren, those are the top 4. But is there a real difference between tight end 5 and 10 for you? Because I don't see a difference between Dallas Goedert and Kyle Pitts. I don't.
The thing with Dallas Goedert is that, like, to me, he's just not a special difference-making type player in terms of success versus man-to-man, broken tackles. He really doesn't get a lot of end zone targets. He does get like those weird shovel pass screen type things. Like Kyle Pitts actually is in that group, the one that I believe is a difference maker. Tucker Kraft, he's a good player, real life good player. Doesn't really translate well to tight end premium, given that he's not really a target machine. Not even technically really that great of a route runner, but the scheme is really good for him. Like, I don't like taking. Again, you can make cases for Fannin. I don't like taking Kraft, Fannin, Laporta, any of those guys. Pitts is the one that I will take. Pitts is the one that I'm ahead of my skis on.
You would think that in that offense, it's London and Pitts, but you just never know. They cannot seem to get Pitts the ball with London on the field.
I mean,
Kevin Stefanski, his offense runs through the X and the Y. It's the perfect setup. And the thing is that really gives me confidence is that they brought in this new coaching staff and then paid Pitts after. Like the Pitts payment was based on this new regime. The guy also has insane 95th percentile speed, like one of the best speed scores of all time. He can do more with less. Like Pitts, the thing with him is that he could get peppered with targets and he could also rip off a ton of 40-yard plays. He's one of him, George Kittle, and Chigakonkwo are really the only 3 guys that have ripped off 3 or more 40-plus yard plays in the same season. Like Pitts, he's one of the few guys that has a chance to be really special. And he might not be that good. Maybe, obviously he was a lot better when Drake London wasn't in there. I'm willing to take that risk because there's a world where Kyle Pitts does come out and have an all-time great special season. It's possible. That's why I'm willing to take the risk.
Your tweet from maybe months ago at this point about Stefanski's scheme and how much it benefits London and Pitts has stuck in my head all my
one
ranking, with drafting
Michael
season.
Wilson, right? You can watch Michael Wilson describing this scheme because Drew Petzing is from the Kevin Stefanski tree. And I was like, he's literally talking about – he mentions the Browns. I'm like, he's literally talking about why Kevin Stefanski is perfect for Drake London and Kyle Pitts. And they're betting on it. because the other wide receivers are John Dotson and rookie Zachariah Branch, little tiny Zachariah Branch.
I mean, the biggest issue, right, is the quarterback position.
That's a massive, massive issue, and I don't even like thinking about it. Stream's over. Show's over, everybody.
Before you go, Coop, please. You already talked extensively. I mean, I'm gonna expose it. We're talking in our Goombahs group chat about we got to go check out this, your odds and prop bets article and compare it. But please, you have so much more work than that, so many more places you're on. Please tell all of our people watching where they can find your work, where they can listen to you on the radio, podcast, all of that.
Yeah, pull up that odds article when you do bookmark it, because I update it every year. So I'm going to update it again next week on Wednesday. That's I'm going to give it. It's going to be the 1 week before the season. I will update that last time, so that'll be good to go. But yeah, find me a Fantasy Alarm. As Mile High Luke pointed out in the chat, become a Fantasy Alarm member. Honestly, right now, don't drive. Sorry, easy for me to say. Don't buy the Fantasy Alarm draft guide. As crazy as that sounds, use promo code COOP25 and get 1 month of All Pro. That costs the same as the draft guide, and you get the draft guide, but you get access to all our tools. You get access to the Discord. Mile High Luke, Coop's Corner is in there. It's a little thing on our Discord. Mile High Luke does Big Gorilla drafts. He sends them right to me. We talk it out. Like, if you want to come in and say, hey, what do you think about this? Give me your rankings. I have all my rankings, everything up there. And then for shows, we're on Sirius XM channel 87. I'm on Thursday and Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. And we just got renewed for the Sunday morning show, 10 to 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings on the NFL.
Awesome.
Howard Bender. Yeah, I love that show, dude. It makes me nervous. They've renewed us the last few years. It makes me nervous every year. I'm like, I got to be on Sunday morning again. Man.
Those are great when someone comes and doesn't give the information Howard needs, and Howard just rips into them. Oh my
God, when he hangs up on people, love it, dude. But dude,
Howard, when he came on, he was going at it with the chat. He said, "Come draft against me then." And because people were calling him a boomer.
I've been trying to get him off the handcuffing. People call him a boomer for that, but he's like the soup Nazi with calls on Sunday. You got to call up and don't. If you say, "Hey, how's it going?" Howard will say, "That's your one question." Boom, hung up. You know what I mean? Like, crazy. So it's very funny. But yeah, check us out, man. Check out the content. I have my rankings. I have like 3 different versions. I have the full PPR, half PPR standard version. I have my own dynamic tier, like color-coded yin and yang ones, and then I have a best ball cheat sheet. I also have dynasty rankings. We got rankings for everything, so that's it for me, man. Easy to find my stuff.
Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm, thank you again for hopping on. That's going to do it for myself, Aidan Liquorie, Dave Terpoilli, Jake Venuti. We will be back next Tuesday to cover an FFPC main event with Sam Dahani from Fantasy Life, and then 3 spots still remain in Sunday, September 6th, $5,000 entry FFPC Big Payback League if you want to draft with the big guns live on YouTube. Thank you again, Coop. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, everyone in the comments section. We will see you guys next Tuesday night.
See you.